Hi, Paul.
Hello, Jamie.
Hello,
Most beautiful.
Stan.
She's still fast.
Hello, Stano. Stanley, you're wearing the hat, so
Hey.
I know who you are.
Comes out backwards on the camera.
Because that's the way that the camera is set up. But you know what's funny is that I am not
Yes.
really.
So,
I am not backwards. So like we can do this, and there you go. Now you see it as it is. But I think
oh,
that
I get it.
right, but I think that it's just how we see it. When it's better like this, they actually see it like the listener is really intrigued.
Enough said. Next, next. A man of my age can't labor on these trivial matters.
Well, Dad, I am really looking forward to today's guest. I mean, I look forward to all of our guests, right?
I'm glad you said that.
But neither of us know this person. I was introduced to her by an
I,
amazing, incredible,
I know everybody.
and then you forget everyone as well too.
That works too.
Yeah, I was telling the story about how at my book launch party, people came up to you and they're like, "Hi," and you're like, "Oh, hi, it's so good to see you," blah blah blah. And then they walked away and you're like, "Who is that person?"
That was your mother.
Oh, very funny. Very, very funny.
I have
Um,
a few moments of lucidity.
oh yes. But you know what? Do you think that was always in life or just more now later in life for you?
What?
I can't make this up, listener. I cannot make it up. I can't.
Get on with it.
I mean, do you realize that you were forgetting
Fire
things?
torpedoes! Go, go, go!
Do you realize
Dive, dive!
do you realize that you're forgetting things?
I think I'm losing about a half a step every maybe 6 months.
What do you mean by that?
Well, the step into your efficiency and your memory, you think, see, how, I can't remember that particular word. It evaporates from your consciousness, but it happens to everybody. That's why artificial intelligence will surpass us easily because it's all knowledge kind of crammed together in like one little phone.
But you mean like you forget things that have happened in your life, or you mean
You
like
can't remember a
you
person, you can't remember the name. I think it's trivial stuff. I'm not having any Alzheimer moments, none of
okay.
that stuff.
Like you always know who I am,
Most of the time.
but you try to forget?
Well, I say dive, dive.
What does that even
Let's
mean?
go. Come on.
No, well, it's just so funny because I think that we take life for granted so often about the abilities that we do have, and not everyone has the same abilities. But it's just, you and I have talked about this a lot, in that our bodies are such an incredible thing, and what it does every day to get us to function, and how when we go to sleep at night, how it regenerates. And it's just
I have
fascinating.
found a newfound wisdom in certain Instagram posts, which drives your mother mad.
You know, listener, I get messages. My dad, now that he has Instagram, I get probably on average 3 to 4 reels a day. Go ahead.
But they're intense. There's one that stands up in my mind. I know I sent it to you. It shows a guy talking about the meaning of life and how we're part of the universe. He says, if I shine a light on the wall and the light is on the light's that being created by the wall is created by projecting an image onto the wall.
Okay.
And life is almost similar, but if you hear the whole thing, it's an incredibly profound philosophical moment. You've got to hear it. If you like it, we'll have to post it.
Okay.
It's outstanding.
Okay.
The
Was it
fact that the
AI?
fact that it quotes a Star Trek episode is totally secondary.
Was it AI?
No, not at all. It was a real person.
Oh,
But
okay.
he was liking it to something they explained in a TV script. They showed it, but then he explained it further, and it's in layman's terms, but
Okay.
it's pretty profound.
Okay.
Because basically in life is we have no idea who we are, what we're doing
Yeah.
here, and where we're going.
Yeah. It was wild. I gave blood again yesterday, and it was such a cool experience because I got to get a tour of the
Yeah,
facility.
the bus is very cold.
No, it wasn't the bus. It's actually at the location, the Suncoast Blood Centers. And I got to take a tour of the facility, and it was just incredible to see when you give blood, they talk about that you save up to 3 lives because it's like your platelets, your plasma, and everything that you're doing. And they brought me back in the back where the blood is. All the blood's like a red color, but variation.
Was
They
anybody
showed
hanging upside down?
no, there was no vampires there that were
I
ready to.
didn't
Yeah.
say there
I
weren't.
did say that they should come over to take your blood and have the teeth in and make a joke of it because that would have been so fun. I kept
Scare
saying
the
them,
crap out of
oh my
people.
God, it'd be so fun. And it like it doesn't, I also had my finger prick for my
Hemoglobin.
hemoglobin, but it was just such an interesting experience to be reminded again. It's my I've been able to
Well,
have
you
before.
look behind the curtain, and that's important in many aspects.
Yeah.
For years, I thought fish came from Publix. It comes from the ocean.
Well, and like we walked and I got a tour. We walked into the freezer where everything was, and it was just wild that like you see we do have a massive blood shortage. We'll talk about that more.
The freezer made it real cool,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
I guess,
Should we
yeah.
let our guest in?
I'm running out of stuff.
All right, let's let our guests in. But it's amazing what you can do and how you can create and impact lives that way, like giving blood.
Enough about us.
Yes.
Enough about your blood.
No, I want to
Uh,
suck your blood. Hi, Sharon. We would love to have your
is
camera, and there we go.
Sharon?
Is it oh
Sharon?
Sharon? And you're muted, so we'll get you off mute. There's like a yeah, there we go.
Got it?
Oh, we still can't hear
And
you.
I can read lips.
We can't hear you. I wonder is your
She said, "What the heck is going on?"
well, we're gonna make this work. See, we don't edit. We go real. So on your audio on the Zoom screen, make sure that you select the microphone that's attached to your computer so that we can hear you there. See if that works. We'll give it a hot second and we'll just do a testing, 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 one, two. It's a good thing you can hear us. We'll see. Still can't hear you yet. You could also dial in from a phone if you needed to. If you click on that microphone and click on audio settings, it should tell you what your microphone is chosen to. So you can do like a drop down arrow and it can say, oh, perfect, got it. So hopefully we'll get you in there in a second.
How's that?
Oh, perfecto.
Is it Sharon
Yeah.
or Sharon?
Sharon.
Yeah, okay, do you want to make sure? My dad said
I was kidding. Good morning.
this afternoon.
There have been times when I've been called Sharon. I know in one of my father's songs, um, I forgot which one. I don't think it's Cabaret, but he was like doing a rhyme,
Right.
and he goes and something Sharon, and I remember hearing that, and and as a kid, people would tease me, Sharon,
I guess I was
or
Zulu too,
just
wasn't I?
Yeah, maybe. Well, it's so nice to meet you. We are live and we are recording. So this is our conversation with you being recorded for our podcast. First of all, thank you so much for saying yes. I am so excited to learn your story. And I'm Jamie. This is my dad, Stan.
Yeah.
So pleasure to meet you.
Hi,
So
nice
we
to meet you
start
too.
all of our
And you're
episodes.
connected through Truly Valued, right? That's
Well, through
how we
Amber,
got connected.
yeah, through Amber, yeah, we connected through Amber, yes. So, yeah. But we start all of our episodes off the same way, and we'd love to ask you a question. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being today is the best day that you've ever had, you do not have a worry in the world, all the way down to a 1, a day that maybe you shouldn't have gotten out of bed today and should not be peopling. What is your number right now?
And decimals count. 0.25,
And
0.50.
Yeah, they count.
okay, um, you know what? I'm going to give this a 10, and I'll tell you why.
Ooh,
Please do
baby.
go on.
Yeah, no, you got to start, unless the day literally starts, and even when it starts with chaos within it, you've got to keep that peace so you don't stay in chaos. So if take your energy to where the chaos is, that's it. And now there are going to be certain things that happen in life that are going to bring the day down to a 1 or a 2. And that could be a loss of a loved one or something horrible happening that just really emotionally upsets you. But you wake up and you're breathing and you are safe. You're starting at a 10.
So as we say,
So
peak early.
Well, where is that? Like that is not a common mindset, right? That
We've
is
never heard that
not
before.
that's not a common mindset. Actually, I have written a book about how to like shed your funk when it comes out. It's just sitting here. That's it. But anyways,
Oh, what a
no,
shameless
but no.
plug.
But so like where does that mindset come from you? Like when did that start for you to have such a positive mindset?
I've been working on it for many, many years, and it really started during my college years. The first thing that I started with was actually someone spoke to me about Christian fellowships in the home, so Bible fellowships, and they were filled with people who just wanted to not only build their faith, but wanted to see the good in the world and believe that there was good in the world. So I'm simplifying it, but that was the basic thing. And it started and it built community. And my childhood was pretty chaotic. I was a young mother at 16.
Ooh, baby.
So, yes, so my son was born when I was 16. My father also died when I was 16. My mother, after he died, she was depressed, did not understand what was going on with her. But looking back, you know, all that she did and all that happened during those years, it really affected her. And it was a big, um, it was something that shattered our lives in, life with him, life without him, and the loneliness, the uncertainty really made for a hard time. And then I, have a baby. The good news through that, I was able to graduate high school, went on to college, still worked the job. So that resilience was there. And then the positivity started with the Bible fellowships. And then when I got my first job, I met people that just introduced me to thinking outside of the box, so more non-linear thinking,
Sure.
visioning
Yeah.
what's possible, and just always thinking, okay, here's where I am now, but
Sure.
what's possible.
And
Wow.
And
unfortunately, our parents, like your mom, didn't have that support group, that contact at all. They were isolated by this incident. Sure.
yeah, absolutely. And really, I think in that generation, there was no belief that you could have a positive self, that there
Sure.
were, that
Agreed.
you could be outside your circumstances. It just was not known or taught.
Mhm.
So, for me, I was very fortunate in being exposed to that. And I credit that to getting and being in advertising in New York City. So being in a major market, working with all different types of people from various backgrounds. And my limited circle was, I went to Catholic school. I had my neighborhood. So, it was just the people in Mount Vernon. But now I'm in New York and I'm seeing people from the tri-state area at all economic levels, all different types of backgrounds. And I love to learn, and I'm just taking it all in. And now I have the opportunity to kind of like see what's possible. And that carried me, and I just continued to learn and started
Soak it up.
prac-
Sure.
practicing yoga. Um, until I couldn't practice yoga because of my hip, but that was one thing. And then started meditating on a regular basis.
Now,
And
apparently, having a child at 16, you received a biology degree from high school. What was your degree from college?
yeah, communication arts.
Okay.
Oh,
I
that's I
grad.
have the same degree. Same degree.
Yeah.
Interpersonal communications, but yes. So did
Mhm.
you, so you were born in New York, yes? I hear
Mhm.
it. I hear it in the tone. So tell us a little bit about, before you got to 16, like tell us a little bit about your life, growing up. And I know a little bit about your story, but I want you to share with us what it was. So you're born in New York. Tell us a little bit about, take us back to the moment that the chaos kind of started. You said your childhood was chaotic. Things were chaotic with your mom. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. Well, I was born in Harlem, New York, and my mother, who was in Black Vaudeville, and my father, Louis Armstrong.
Oh, hold on.
Wait,
Our
wait, wait.
listeners don't know that though. Our
Please
listeners,
open
Oh,
it.
we haven't even shared this yet. So your father is,
Sharon,
yeah.
who's your daddy? Who's your daddy?
I mean, that you're just like my dad was Louis Armstrong. It just is.
it was casual in the house, but it was the big secret. So
Yeah.
I'll go back further. My mother was in Black Vaudeville, and she was a part of the dance team of Slim and Sweets. So in the 1940s, she was married to Luther Preston, and he was a dancer, and they formed the team and toured all over the United States, even Europe.
Wow.
Before and she got her start as being a chorus girl in the Apollo with the Apollo chorus girls.
We
That's
call
how.
we call them hotties.
And if you saw a picture of my mom, you would definitely say, "Yep, You could see
Wow.
it. She was a hot number.
Wow.
And and in Black Vaudeville, they formed the shows with what is considered the flash acts. So acts like Slim and Sweets, the dancers, they had a dance and comedic routine, and then there were dancers and tappers like the Berry Brothers, um, comedians like Moms Mabley or
Fabulous, fabulous.
Buck and Bubbles, and then exotic dancers could, be on the bill. So
Wait
maybe,
a minute. This is all BS, isn't it? Oh, I mean, before Sharon.
yeah,
Sorry.
Ignore him. I'm going to kick him. Roll
no,
over there.
It's true. It's true.
Go ahead. I
yes, it is.
apologize.
All BS. But this is Black Vaudeville, and this is the beginning of their connection because Mom and Slim were on many shows where Louis Armstrong was the headliner. So they'd have all these acts, and the headliners could be Louis Armstrong, Billie Holiday, Count Basie, and they would tour together, and then they would tour on the Chitlin Circuit, which was all the black acts playing the black theaters in the South during the Jim Crow era.
They were on the road a lot.
Yes, they were.
They have
Constantly.
security?
You know what? They had the Green Book. They had family. Everybody kind of you learn to kind of live and look out and understand what like when terror was moving, and then people would move. It was really a network of the community.
Got it.
And
Was Mr. Armstrong was Mr. Armstrong a single act then, a single person act at that time?
Well, he was, and always. Well, when you say single person act, you mean without a band?
No, yeah, came up by himself with his trumpet. What was it?
Oh, no. He always had a band, whether it was an orchestra or the All Stars or the Hot Five, Hot Seven.
Got you.
Through his career, he always played with 4 or 5 other musicians. So he always had piano, bass, and drum. He as a horn, and usually a trombone and a clarinet, because his style, as you know, was that New Orleans sound, and those are the core instruments in that. Now,
And he was also singing. He was also singing in the early days.
He sang always, yeah, in the early days. Oh yeah, definitely. So some of his earliest I think the singing really started in the 30s because and I could be wrong on that. I'm not an expert in his discography, but to my knowledge and to what I've heard, what I've looked up on Spotify, in the 30s there are recordings of him singing. I think Dinah is one of them. So
what a great uniqueness and individuality. He's instantly recognizable.
Exactly. And his style, people imitate it, but no one can duplicate it.
True.
Yeah.
But that was the core of the show, and that's how they met.
Okay.
And understanding in show business for Black performers, and given the time of the segregation, the racial tension, especially Jim Crow, these performers, whether they were the flash acts, the opening act, the stars, they were bound together by race and needing to one helping the other.
Sure.
And friendships, they were friends. So Mom and her husband Slim were good friends with my father and his wife, his 4th wife at the time. And so fast forward to 1950. And unfortunately, my mother's husband, Slim, was diagnosed with stomach cancer, and they at a very late stage. As a matter of fact, he got sick on stage during an act, and my mother had to carry him off.
Oh boy.
She was 5 feet tall. He was 6 feet tall, but he got sick, and she just lifted him and ran off stage. And they went, and luckily they were in New York, and they went immediately to Harlem Hospital, where it was diagnosed. So they took him home. He had, short time to live. But once he passed, uh, that friendship between Mom and Louis and, Slim and Lucille grew to be more between Mom and Louis. And that's when their relationship started. So she was not married, she was a widow. And but he was married. But they developed a friendship and then it just developed. So she started traveling with him. She would go to clubs where he would be. He would send for her, and he started taking care of her. And,
What was Lucille doing at this time? His wife. Was
Did she
she?
know?
she was around,
Did she
and and,
know?
and uh, absolutely, because unfortunately he had a reputation.
Well, four
Uh,
wives, yeah.
yeah, and many women in between.
Hey,
Mhm.
that's
So
Eskimo culture. If your brother dies, you step in as your brother. Eskimos do it all the time. They do that.
No, but it's show business too. It's
It,
you
it well,
spend
it
all
was
that
show
time together.
business, but it
Yeah.
was also his personality. And she obviously understood, what she was getting, walked into that and tolerated it.
Mhm.
There was it. So fast forward, they're together, 1954. My mother gets pregnant. In correspondence, my father, acknowledged it and was very thrilled and actually promised marriage, but it never happened. And I know that his manager, just from the research that I've done, his manager and of course Lucille were dead set against it. And my father erred on the side of saving his career, but he stayed with Mom. Supported her, supported us, and she accepted it. And for 21 years, we were the private family of Louis.
Wow.
So he supported us all the way through. Even when he died, he did not leave us in his will, but he did leave us $25,000 in savings bonds, which ended up being distributed to us over a period of 3 years or so, like one bond per month to support us.
Yeah.
But he did, we were taken care of for a short period afterwards.
Did he and Lucille have children?
They never had children.
Yeah.
Never.
You're his only child, right?
To my knowledge, yes. Now, my
Wow.
book has been out for, I wrote, so let me stop because I know you haven't said any of this, but so as, and we lived in Harlem and then we moved to Mount Vernon. My father bought us a house and I went to Catholic school, grammar school, and then Catholic high school. And it was at that time, their relationship continued, but they started to he started to come around less and less. They started seeing each other less and less. It became there was a lot of tension. My mother was starting to just get tired of what the situation was. And when I was 12, we were on a trip to see him. We hadn't seen him in a while, and we were on a trip. We went to Atlantic City to see him at the Steel Pier. He was doing a show there. Um, One evening, they had an argument, pretty bad argument, and
You were in the
that
room.
was I came in the room, and I was asleep. They woke me up. I came in the room, and they were screaming at each other. And my mother said, "When are you going to marry me?" And he said, "Never." And that was the last word he spoke. My mother walked out of the room, took me, packed, and because it was in the wee hours of the morning, and we left. And they didn't speak for a year, but he continued supporting us during that time. Then he wrote a letter, and then she started corresponding. Um, we saw him one time. I was 13 at that time, and he was at a club, I think the Latin Quarter in New York. He was playing, and we went backstage. It was ordinary, and pretty. I think that was the last time I saw him because within the next year or two, he became very ill. and was in the hospital for almost a year, if not more. Um, and they spoke to each other, and I was asking my mother, why hasn't he come around? She said, your father's very sick. But you wanted to know where the chaos came in, and it was not in the younger years because, I was raised. I did all the activities. I went to Girl Scouts. I was part of that. I, did all the fun stuff that middle class kids do in the suburbs. I had fun with friends, great high school. Even with the pregnancy, I was supported by, the high school and was able to graduate. But it started at really at age 10 when, because my mother had told me all along, my father's just working. But at age 10, through watching TV, watching him on the Johnny Carson show, where he started talking about Lucille.
Oh
And
boy.
my mother's name is Lucille too, her not her name.
Mm.
And I'm listening, but the circumstances don't make any sense to me.
You had no idea that it was a whole other life that you had.
No, no, had no idea. I was age 10. And I finally, when he mentioned Corona and then things about Lucille, I was like, oh my God.
That's my mother.
And I was watching TV in one room. Mom was downstairs. I started running downstairs because she was watching it downstairs. And she meets me at the steps and she just looked at me and said, she won't give him a divorce. He would be with us, but she won't give him a divorce. And I was
You're
just
10.
10 and I was stunned.
Because you didn't have
And
any idea that that even was a thing.
no, no,
You knew he was famous, and you knew that he was a performer, but you had no idea that he had a whole other life.
whole other life. No. He was always on the road. And it made sense because I would always see him on TV in a magazine.
Yeah.
So, when mom says he's working, okay, he's
Mm.
working. Got it.
And all of
But
your friends knew that he was your father. All of everyone,
no,
oh, no one
just
knew.
some friends. No, my mother was a widow.
Oh, right.
So it was, believed that my father passed away. And no further questions were asked.
And you
So
didn't talk
she
about it as a child that like at all. Yeah, got it. Okay.
No, just a couple of very close friends. It was the secret. Of course, my family knew, my cousins knew.
Yeah.
So, and they would see him when he would come to the house when we lived in New York, in Harlem, in the apartment. But it was really from that moment on that I, I, I would say my childhood just came to an abrupt end.
Let me throw a
And
question. A lot of kids, this is a problem a lot of families have. There are secrets within the family. Maybe some of the kids are adopted, and many of the relatives know what the secret is, but it's kept from the person who they're keeping it from. So, having gone through this now, Hannah's 10, 10's a very delicate age. Do you wish they had approached it differently earlier? Would you have understood any earlier?
no, I think, you know what, maybe around 8. I think at 8 years old, it's a big difference by third
Sure.
grade from second grade. I don't know why that year it's, there's a big change in how you are emotionally, even in school, how they approach,
It's development, sure, brain development, sure.
exactly. I think, the appropriate thing would have been to just sit me down and let me know. And so, having said that, even at the moment that I discovered it the way I did, there was an opportunity for the two of them to then come together and apologize and then talk to me then.
Never happened, sure.
Never happened. And that
Wow.
started, the upset or kind of just kind of disbelief or
Yeah.
anger.
How does a
And
10-year-old deal with that? That's betrayal, that's anger, that's you're just so. How do you deal with that?
I, well, fortunately, I was a nerdy kid. So, school was like a
An
great
escape, a good escape for you, sure.
escape. And I did play instruments. But by the time I was 12, I would say I became promiscuous
Mm.
Almost as in
and
acting out.
acting out in that way. And it was, just I didn't understand it,
Sure.
but it was just it was a way of release. And I still don't really understand it because it wasn't that I was hanging with a group of friends
Mm. Mm.
that were that way. I was kind of a lone wolf in that.
Mhm.
Um, but, that's what happened. And so by the time I was 16 and he passed away, I was upset, angry, confused. There were a lot of feelings. Uh, uh, and, and, and I think disgust was one
Mm.
of them. It was just like, I'm just over this. And my mother, she, she had a range of emotions, but it was interesting. In the moment that we both heard about it, we were of little comfort to each other. I
Mm.
mean, we just sat, we were stunned because, again, we learned it on TV. I
Yeah.
think TV, and then to this day, TV is like a security blanket for me.
Mm.
It's like the thing I go to for information, for relief. It was always there, and we finally embraced. But mentally, I kind of separated myself and felt that I could do life better than they could for me, and I became very self-sufficient.
Mm.
Was your son born before he passed or after he passed?
After he passed.
Did you take on
Yeah.
any namesake at all for your son after him?
His middle name.
Yeah,
Louis.
good stuff. Wow. So you found out that he passed on national television, and that was kind of like a bit of closure for you then or also maybe like a springboard to say, I've had enough of this. I'm doing my own thing now. Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't closure. I didn't receive closure until I wrote the book
Yeah.
because for from that time through my 20s, and I didn't start the process of writing the book until I was 50 and I was already a grandmother. So really through my 20s was when I had the most anger or just um, disgust with just how my parents had handled it, and was not didn't look at my father as the genius that he is,
Mhm.
and uh, and my mother, I was really upset with her and didn't consider her a very smart woman.
Sharon,
And
how have those magnificent theatrical genes manifested in you?
well, so fast forward, interesting. In high school, I put on and produced a variety show.
Oh,
Just
fabulous.
in, it was our like spring event for the seniors, and it was something I'd seen all my life from my mother doing it at schools, and seeing my father perform. So I put together this show. Uh, Also, my father, one of his big hobbies was recording and writing letters and kind of, looking at the world. And what we do on social media today,
Hmm.
he did with a typewriter and paper and a reel to reel tape recorder.
Wow.
And I manifested that as becoming on air radio personality
Fabulous.
in
In
school.
school.
And when I came out of school, I got into radio, but I ended up behind the scenes, and I took the same, that drive and talent, and became a sales executive and had a career for over 30 plus years.
Woo, baby.
Starting at ABC radio and going to CBS, MS, ABC Disney, CBS, MS. I worked, and I ended my career in at NPR in Tampa
Wow, kudos to you. Wow.
at USF. That I spent the last 9 years there to, and really as a sales exec, there's so many production skills that you
Sure.
use putting together a package and understanding, what you need to reach the audience. And then as I decided to, I got to a place through urging through various people to really start to know, and mainly my husband Howard, who I met and told about my past, and he was upset, first of all, but didn't understand why I wasn't pursuing more knowledge. So I had to explain, just the anger. But he, kept asking me. Others were asking me. At this point, now I'm a grandmother, and I said, you know what? I don't have any excuses anymore,
Sure.
and I started pursuing. And when I in pursuing that, my background information, my life, I was directed to go read his will, and in it I saw an affidavit written by his wife saying he had no children, but
Mm.
she didn't even leave the legalese in. She kind of crossed out, and said no. It's always to the best of my knowledge.
Mhm.
Sure.
That crossed it out and was like no. And in that moment, I completely understood that I had been erased, and I said, you know what? I
Mm.
could try to take this through the courts, but it's still not going to tell my story as a human being and
Sure.
the life I lived. And so that creativity and that talent came where I said, I'm going to write a book. Now I'm a com arts major, you know, uh, not a literary major, not a journalist, but resilient and determined, and naturally a producer. And I understood, I needed to connect with certain parties, which I did. I got an entertainment lawyer who directed me to a literary agent, who included a co-author. I wrote the story. She finessed the story, and we self-published on Amazon. And I understood how to get press. That press was in the I was advised that with the letters that my father wrote to us and all the memorabilia, the best thing to do was to put it up for auction, and that would generate, a press release.
Sure.
Wow.
So that's what I did. And in my heart, I never wanted to sell it, and it didn't sell because we started at such a high
Hmm.
price. And I got everything back and wrote the book, put the book out. I didn't get a big media or marketing promotion behind it, but that was fine. I did a grassroots,
Sure.
promotion, one event after another. Fast forward 5 years after the book is out, I connected with a young lady, and she read it and loved it, and said that she would like to be a producer and make it a documentary. Introduced me to the director, and his wife was a producer. And in 2020, we started production through COVID. And 2021, we premiered at the Thessaloniki Documentary Festival, Film Festival. That was our international premiere. Our American premiere was at the American Black Film Festival.
Amazing.
And then we were a part of Hot Docs, which is a part of the Toronto Film Festival in December of that year. We were the premiere episode on the PBS series Real South, REEL South, of season 7. We are streaming on PBS.org and other platforms, PBS Digital on Amazon. And we
You're a
won an
very
Emmy.
impressive lady.
Did anyone ever question the legitimacy of your story?
Some people did, but many did not, simply because, truthfully, like, why would I make that up?
Sure.
Right, right. We used to know because
Okay.
people are so wackadoodle do, right?
But
Yeah.
I'll tell you, not people or mostly ordinary people or average everyday people. But of course, the musicians or the musical scholars
Mm,
who, they know everything. And
yeah.
if anything was going to be known, it was they would know it, or they should have been the ones to tell it. Like the fact that I think, and I could be wrong, but I think the fact that I just decided I'm saying my life story
Yeah.
and showing the letters, showing myself, telling our story, and backing it up with our
Sure.
facts,
Sure.
that is good enough. And I don't need to prove anything to anyone. The story is for me. Accept it or don't accept it.
Yeah. Now
So
I
I
yeah. Well, I imagine that your father had some really good friends back in the day that were also famous, and the crowd that he hung out with. Who did you ever meet any of them? Were you ever in the same, and would they have known you as to be his daughter? Like, did you ever have any of those encounters?
just well, one that when I was a child. So we were backstage, and I met Earl Garner. Of course, I knew the All Stars. The members of his band. Of course, I met Trummy Young, and Billy Kyle, and um, uh, the bassist. Well, let's see, Billy Kyle. I met Marty Napoleon.
Did you
His
ever meet
drummer.
moms? Moms?
No, I never met moms in person. No, but who knew who my mother knew all of them, and they knew her.
Yeah.
So fast forward, when I was getting married, my my now husband and I went to a concert in Tarrytown, New York, where Lionel Hampton was playing, and Lionel knew my mother, good friends. So my husband's like, "Let's go backstage and say hi to Lionel." And I'm like, "He's not going to remember me or remember about me because my if you met my husband, you would know that he wasn't going to take me.
Well, and how do you get backstage? Like, is there a special pass that you have, like for life?
No, no. We actually went to backstage and asked to see Lionel, and the person that said no, we're not accepting any guests. And my husband's like, oh, he'll want to see her. He knows her mother, and we were outside the door, and her mother was Sweets Preston, and they told him, and he's like, yeah, let her in. To my surprise, and he was like, I haven't seen you since you were a baby.
No way.
And Howard said, I told you, I told you.
He did. And um, the biggest blessing from that whole thing, well, we said, Lionel, we're getting married in April. We'd love for you to come. And he said, sure, I'll come. Tell me when and where. Not only did he come to the wedding,
He
my
played.
husband, yes, he played. My husband's a musician. He was playing with a band that had a xylophone. We had it set up. We introduced Lionel.
Wow.
Lionel is maybe 90 or close to 90 because this is 93. And he's walking up to the stage, like really like slow moving. He gets in front of the xylophone.
He came alive.
All of a sudden, it was and he played for 45 minutes.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
it was,
Superb.
yeah. So those are the really two incidents. But mom saw and knew, Cab Calloway. In fact, if you know about my father's, passions, one of them was really recording like everything, every conversation.
Oh, wow.
Um, he would do audio letters to us.
Wow.
And one of the audio letters is a big part of my documentary because it was to mom and I.
Mhm.
And in one audio letter, they're in the room, and Cab Calloway comes in, and a few other people, and they're just hanging out because they were all there on a show, And so everybody knew mom. And
Wow.
I remember really late, maybe in the 80s, uh, I was living in Westchester, but we went to a concert, I think it was Connecticut, Stanford, and Dizzy was playing. And I took my mom, and we just went backstage. And
Mm.
he's like, "Hey, sweets." I mean, it was.
It's
And
family
Wow.
emotion.
How long is your mom still around? No.
no, she passed away at 98 in 2000.
The name of your book and the name of your documentary, please.
The book is Little Satchmo, Living in the Shadow of My Father, Louis Daniel Armstrong.
Wow.
And
What was his
then
middle name? Louis.
Daniel.
Yeah.
And the documentary is Little Satchmo.
Wow.
Wow.
So the website, you can go to the website, littlesatchmodoc.com, all together,
We will.
littlesatchmo.com.
So now you grew up in his shadow, but then you made your own
She
path,
she
right? You
she said her
shattered it.
phone.
Yeah, you shed your funk. And you met Howard and you had your son when you were 16. And then you met Howard how long after you met Howard when you were how old?
33.
33, got it. Okay. And so you now have this like beautiful life. You're a grandmother. You have
Great grandmother.
great grandmother. Oh my goodness. Well, you're probably a fabulous grandmother, but also a great grandmother. But a great grandmother. Wow. I mean, look at the legacy that you have created from, the chaos that started, right? The chaos that started. When Lucille, his wife, passed, there was probably, I'm just curious, there must have been like what's the thing I'm thinking of? Like who did she leave everything to? Like did she because she would have inherited his whole life.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what did she do when she passed? Did she leave it to anyone?
Well, she created a foundation, or I think it was created just before he passed, and everything went to the foundation.
How big was the estate?
I'm not, well, it included the house, all his
Okay.
belongings,
Yeah.
and the collection at Queens College,
Mm. Wow.
And of course, you can
and,
sing a
and
few.
and his royalties. It
You can
included
sing a
every,
few chords of "It's a Beautiful World."
it's a,
Do you listen to his music?
I do,
You do.
because
Yeah.
I was always a fan. And, listening to his music growing up, it was, part of the soundtrack. My mother, I was fortunate enough to grow up, with music all around me. So she listened to him a lot. And like people like Jimmy Smith were played a lot in my house, Jonah Jones, of course, Ella, Dinah, Sarah. These were, staples.
Sure.
And along with Motown,
Yeah.
this was the bedrock of what I grew
Yeah.
up on. So, I listen to him, and I judge all music by his professionalism, how he approaches it, his dedication to rhythm,
Mhm.
and just the feeling that he pours into the music. It's contagious,
Mm.
and
What a
not
story.
only
Ooh, baby.
do that.
And
Yeah.
you thought we knew all this stuff before you told us this
We
stuff.
like we were more like I was like we could do our research in advance. We knew who you were, but we could do our research. But I like wanted to hear it and feel it, and get it live and
We did.
surprise. Wow. But you then created and went on and created this most gorgeous life for yourself. And it's just been, hearing you talk about your great grandmother and what an amazing just life. Because there could have been two paths, right? You could have certainly taken two different paths at the age of 10. You obviously mentioned you went down one path and got pregnant, but what a great gift that ended up being for you to motivate yourself and to go and then get these jobs and work in New York City and learn so much about the business. And how many years did you have in the business? You said like what, 30 years in?
Over 30 years. So I got my first sales job. I actually, we moved to, my son and I, when he was 10, moved to Cleveland, Ohio for just a year. And that's where I got my first sales job. So that was 1983. And I came back and then went into working at an advertising agency for a couple of years. And
All as a
then,
single mom, doing this all as a single mom, raising your son.
yeah. But, thankfully, my mother and my Aunt Berta Lou and my Aunt Marion, these women in my family were there to help me with Anthony. And but the biggest break that I got, I also worked in the fashion magazine with the fashion magazine company that was owned by ABC Disney at the time, um, called Fairchild Publications. And Fairchild is they produced Women's Wear Daily,
Wow.
Daily News Record, Children's Business, all the fashion
Yeah.
things. And I worked in their classified advertising department, but they would send out a jobs listing through for all of their companies, any job throughout the country. And I saw that they had an opening for a salesperson at WABC in New York. And
Wow.
I
You saw it first.
and so I went for that job, and that was the big break in New York radio.
Fabulous.
And I learned so much from that, and from there,
Wow.
moved on to other
Sure.
radio stations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are a powerhouse. I think it's just so absolutely amazing to see how you handled the earlier years and then how you bounced back and sprung even further. I just think your story is fantastic. I'm so grateful that you took time out of your day to spend with us. So thank you. Thank you for
Oh,
that.
thank you.
And
Thank
what
you
does
for the
life
invitation.
consist of you for these days? Like what are you doing these days now? Tell us about what you're up to these
She's
days.
catching a break.
Helping out with the
Well,
grandbabies.
oh, I wish. No, no, I am not catching a break. So, I lived through some health challenges. 3.5 months ago, I had a kidney transplant.
Oh boy.
And am
And
I remembering correctly, your father had kidney issues as well too when he was sick?
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
The gift
And
that keeps on giving.
along with the sickle cell that he had, so not only do I get the looks, I got the health.
You got the whole package.
I got I couldn't look like my mom, and you know,
Well,
and
can you dance?
no, I can't. I can move, but you see my mother dance. There's no,
Fluid,
I
fluid.
Oh,
wouldn't even try.
God.
But no, I'm very thankful. So I had we live in Florida. We've been living here for like 21 years. But I transferred my kidney health to Baltimore. I had a nephrologist in Baltimore as I got closer to needing dialysis. So I was diagnosed in 2020, shortly after my mother passed. And I was told that I would be on dialysis by that June. But I did my research and saw what things I could do
Mhm.
to slow down the progression, which was really change my diet, became more vegetarian, a whole variety of things,
Wow.
and did it for as long as I could. As my numbers got lower, um, I and also they wanted me to register with two hospitals, and knowing that I have sickle cell as well, I wanted to register with hospitals that either had a sickle cell division
Sure.
or in an area that would be very knowledgeable of it. So that left New York, Baltimore, within this area, and everyone's first choice was Johns Hopkins. So I
Yeah.
registered with Johns Hopkins. I also registered with New York Presbyterian, and I, just continued to. I actually worked for another 3 years and then retired in 2023. And by 2024, we moved to Baltimore at part time, living here and there. I started dialysis, home dialysis, and had wonderful care through the University of Maryland. And then received a donor. I got a call in October of 2025 that they had a donor match for me, a living donor match.
Wow.
Had my surgery November 5th at Johns Hopkins. And as I said, I am 3.5 months post transplant.
Oh
You
my
look fabulous.
gosh. That is Congratulations. That is
Thank you.
a
Your
miracle.
nerdiness paid off. You did the research. You looked into you took control. Absolutely. No victims
Wow.
here.
I said, no, I am not accepting this, to have this come out, it seemed nowhere.
Sure.
Yeah.
And like, Oh, okay. No, 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 I'm not doing that. So, and that's just who I am. And in the meantime, I have, and all through that, we made the film and I traveled and to Europe twice
Boy,
and different places around the country. Thankfully, our director, John Alexander, and his wife, JC Guest, they did the bulk of the traveling for the film. We've been in, over 50 film festivals throughout the world. And I have started on a biography now of my mother
Oh, what a
and
beautiful testament to
for,
her.
for her life because she was a star in her own right.
Mhm.
And it's time that I, tell
recognize.
her story. So it'll be mostly about her career. And then the last part of the book will be about her relationship with my father, just at the end. And before I get born, because actually my story tells about me.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
need to take it, you know, past that.
Wow.
But, and in doing that, I am creating some events to really highlight the dance because it's the dance that was created and nurtured in Black Vaudeville that is the and entertainment today is really that's the foundation. So I want to tell her story through some dance events that I'm creating, and also the as I do the research, some recorded oral histories. So
Wow.
I'm building
Sharon, I would normally at this point I would normally say slow down, but you would know what the hell I'm talking about.
there'll be plenty of time when I can't.
You're an
So
inspiration. A great story.
Well, I
thank
cannot wait to grab your book and read it now that I know the backstory or the story of the story. But I want to read all the details, and obviously it'll be so incredible to see that. And then when
you.
your mom's book comes out, I can't wait to hear about that. So you have to keep us posted, and whatever these dance events are, let us know. Hopefully, we can maybe make one of them or do what that looks like. But thank you just for, I mean, what a incredible story. So no retirement for you. Now you're a full-time author and doing your thing. I love it.
Yeah, still volunteer at our radio station here in Sarasota, WSLR.
Oh
I
yeah.
Ooh,
do a show
Sarasota.
Saturday morning, and I play the music that I know and love, highlight female voices. I do Broadway, the American Songbook, R&B, jazz, and some world beat or Brazilian, not world beat, but Brazilian music is a favorite of mine. So those are and Afro pop. So I rotate between
Ooh.
all of that. So, but anyway, about my book,
Yeah.
I am not producing any new copies on the Amazon site. I'm in production now to revise the book, and it will the revised version will come out in late June.
Okay.
So I'll let you know so you can and I'll send you a copy
Oh, I would
of
love
the newer
that.
version.
Well,
Yeah,
if you're
we have
here
a
in the area, we live in Lakewood Ranch, so I'd love to meet up for you,
oh,
maybe for coffee or lunch or breakfast or
She's
something
a
like that.
neighbor.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're here. We're right in near downtown Sarasota. So
I would
absolutely.
love that. Well, it has been absolutely a pleasure talking with you. Thank you for
Thank you.
saying yes. Thank you for just what you've put into the world. I'm so just in awe of you, and I just think you're absolutely fabulous. So
We have
thank
the
you.
best neighbors.
We do. We do. Sarasota is the best. Thank you,
Thank you.
Sharon.
And thank you so much. You've been so gracious and so much fun. And
Oh, it's
I
been
love
the
your
best.
questions.
Enjoy.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Brian. Enjoy the weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Such a pleasure meeting you. All
Yeah,
right.
same here.
Bye, Sharon. Bye. Thank you. Bye. Wow. I mean, Dad, I
Well,
can't, like, we're still recording. You're getting lunch?
it's just a snack.
I mean, what a
Well, she thought we
story.
like knew at the beginning because it hit, it opened up, and it
She's like,
spread like
my father, or
wildfire.
she's like, my father's Louis Armstrong. I'm like, no, 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 no. We didn't agree
Hey,
to that
my
yet.
father's Charlie Brown. My mother's Molly Brown. What do you think of
That
that?
was true.
Molly and
That was true.
Charlie.
Well, we knew a little bit about it, and I specifically did not want to look anything up because I wanted to hear from her first so I could get our reaction to it. But now we're going to go watch that documentary.
Very accomplished woman.
Amazing, incredible, incredible woman, and just what a powerhouse. Listener, we hope that you enjoyed this episode as much as we did. We look forward to seeing you next time. It just goes to show you we never know who our guests are going to be and the story they're going to tell, but they're always incredible no matter what story it is because every human has a story and it's worth telling.
And she inspired me to slow down even more.
Like that's
Part
possible.
of this
All right, listener, have a great day.
Nap time. Bye bye.